Hello, I'm Angela Orora. Welcome to the Oracle book series. Here you'll find interviews with our authors and lots more. We hope you enjoy the show. If you do, remember to click subscribe and share on socials. Hello and welcome. We're here today to chat about the Intuitives Oracle, the latest book in the Oracle book series. I'm so excited about it. I'm Angela Medway-Smith. I'm the Practical Mystic. I'm the lead author and the driving passion behind the project. And I've got two of our amazing authors here with me, Janne Ringius from Denmark and Kieron Morgan from the UK. So I'll tell you about the book first. So the Intuitives Oracle is the book I wish I'd had in my hands when I had my spiritual awakening back in the mid-1980s. It's a soul-driven, practical manual to help anybody who's going through a spiritual awakening, who wants to develop their intuition, who wants to develop their connection with spirit and the unseen worlds in lots and lots of different ways. We've got over 50 different practices within the book to help you and support you. So enough about that. Let me introduce Janne, and Janne can tell you a little bit about her chapter. Janne, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Janne Ringius is a spiritual mediator from Denmark. She experienced a profound spiritual awakening in 1997 that ignited past life memories and a connection to the voice of her soul. Her journey from inner resistance to soulful remembrance now inspires others to trust their hearts, their intuition and soul voice, and embrace their true spiritual path. Welcome, Janne.
Thank you. Yes, my chapter is chapter 3 in the book, and it is called The Oracle of Intuition, Defeating the Inner Judge and Intuitive's Path to Freedom. And my chapter is about what happened in my life on 9/11. Big things happened in the world, and that night something happened to me also, which, because of my way of thinking at that time, I was part of a spiritual community in South Africa. And it was always about finding connections to our life and to what happened in the big world. And in that way, making a difference. So we were looking into the big patterns. So as this happened in New York, actually, I was on the floor in a wooden cabin, expecting to die in a moment, and that is what I'm actually explaining in this chapter. So it has been a hard journey to go back, because I am back in that cabin as I write this. But what magical happened for me that night is actually that I'm getting a choice, and I'm being guided. That night I'm actually being guided very strongly to get out and to get through and to somehow survive, I would say. So my chapter is about describing that very, very hard judge which I've had in my head, of opening up to spirituality, but at the same time opening up to a spirituality which was full of rules and regulations. So there's a very strong mental spirituality I woke up to, which at the same time I have had now many years to understand it. It lived within me. I mean, it was really strong karmic patterns, which I had to wake up to again, see them in that way to kind of get into the new, which is spirituality through the heart. So in that way, in this chapter, I describe where I come from in this life and what I recapped of past life experiences to understand where to move to now in this life, to move into the feminine, which is a completely different ballgame compared to where we come from. So what we call spirituality then, which was a lot of very wise scriptures, was in fact, as I look at it now, was the old religion way that is controlled by, yeah, as I said, rules and regulations.
Thank you, Janne. It's a really, really powerful story, and you're there with you when you read the chapter. I mean, it actually gives me chills remembering it now. And, you know, it, it's incredibly powerful, incredibly brave, and a, a wonderful, wonderful, inspirational story for our readers. And, thank you. Thank you for being part of this project. So tell us about the tool that you shared.
Yes. Well, what I've learned is that it's good to have your mind part of the journey, but the brain cannot control the journey because the brain only does what it knows. And I realized how much my brain could actually connect itself to. So I became extremely intelligent into spiritual words. So my practice is about, well, first of all, healing, obviously, the body for spirituality to come through. But my practice is about making it visible. So there is a headstand. I'm taking my glasses off. So there's actually a headstand where I ask the person that would like to be part of trying out with my practice is to hold on to the brain, to kind of visibly for themselves know that in our head there can be a lot of subconscious stories living. So therefore, as I go through each chakra, clearing it for old stories, I ask to help with your hands to hold it to the head and to make it visibly that the brain has nothing to be afraid of. The brain is here to be held in a soft way. So my practice is I guide first to get a good grounding and then move through each chakra, holding the head, asking the mind and the head to let go of whatever stories that there could be there, because you don't have to remember your stories. We are part of much more than one lifetime as we sit here. We have many what do you call it? We have many streams running through us. We have also a DNA which is connected to family stories and a lot of things we don't even remember, and we don't have to remember, because my story is I really wanted to remember, and that took me far away from myself. So we don't have to remember what happened, but we have to let go, and the brain can have a lot of resistance in wanting to do that because it doesn't feel safe. And here it is to softly hold on to the brain and say it's okay as we move through each chakra.
It's brilliant. Thank you so much. I'll come back to you in a moment, but let's say hello to Kieran. So the wonderful Kieran Morgan is a healer, teacher, and alchemist. And Kieran works with the dragons, angels, and the Master Merlin, who is his father in spirit. He's the founder of Pendragon Reiki and author of the Dragon Rune Oracle. I'm really excited to see a copy of these, Kieran. I haven't seen them yet. And he guides seekers through healing workshops and the Violet Flame Earth Chakra on Leith Hill. So, welcome, Kieran. Would you like
Yeah.
to tell readers about your chapter, Cariad?
Yeah, it's really interesting listening to Janne's story. And it's very, big, powerful stuff and very moving. My story is quite silly, to be honest, in comparison. Light-hearted rather than silly. It's not like flippant, but mine was Leith Hill, which is my sort of home, my spiritual home. I've always, throughout my whole life, gone to a certain point and sort of laughed if there was things to laugh at and cried if there were things to cry at and sent my energy out into the world from this space. The Leith Hill is very high up in the south of England. There's nothing between it and the sea. There's 25 miles of just sort of wilderness and countryside. And the chapter really tells a story of me being there and asking for a sign. When the dragons first came to work with me, I wondered, as I have done many times in my life, if I was losing the plot entirely, if I was absolutely barking mad and should paint myself blue and run around in the forest, or if there was something medically wrong with me, or if I was actually finding the right path, the true path. So I was trying to work that out, and I did what I'd done many times. I'd asked the universe for a sign, and many of us on the spiritual path, when our path awakens, we look to the universe for signs. We start seeing signs. Sometimes we see signs that aren't really there. My chapter's called a magpie is just a magpie usually, because people see magpies and they kind of call, oh, I've seen one magpie, oh, things are going to be sad today. I've seen two magpies, things are going to be good today. Or, I've seen five magpies, oh, I'm going to get some money or whatever. But a lot of the time, magpie itself is just doing its own thing and minding its own business. So the chapter is really about that. I asked the universe for a sign, and in my sort of staring for a sign and looking intently for a sign, I completely missed the fact that there was one standing next to me. And my spirit guide, one of my totem animals, the crow, was calling to me on a misty day upon this hill, and I kept ignoring it and telling it to leave me alone because I wanted a sign. And it was the one that was trying to guide me to the sign. And eventually, the sort of cawing of this crow changed from "Arr, arr, arr," to basically, look over here, look where I am. And it was standing on a branch which looked just like a mouth of a dragon. Um, so it was a kind of sign for me to go, just, here it is, here's the sign. So
Mm.
my chapter's about, finding the difference between an actual sign and being open to the possibilities of things, and rather that than sort of focusing too much in one particular direction, waiting to see those things and making sure that we're in the right space to be able to receive those things. And the practice of doing that is about using a couple of symbols. One's called the dragon's eye, which is a triangle that faces down. We can draw this on the brow center. And it's another symbol from Celtic mythology called Arwen, which is three lines, which are beams of light, beams of energy. And we basically focus our question, and then you either visualize or draw these symbols on the brow center and kind of open that to possibilities and to be able to see the truth of whether something is a sign from the universe or whether it's just a hedgehog wandering across the road because it's hungry. And when we get on the path, as I said, we can start to see signs everywhere, and overanalyze things. I'm a great one for overanalyzing things. I'm very good at overthinking. And if we are not sure about an answer, a sign or symbol from the universe, we can ask them again. And when you see three lots of something in different places or different areas, then that's generally, for me, a confirmation that that's what's going on. So a single magpie on its own is probably just having some breakfast. But if you see, something when you're listening to or watching TV and there's a magpie somewhere, or you could hear some music as well. I had it recently with what was it? I think it was a lion, and I'd ask a question to universe, and in my mind's eye, I'd seen this lion roaring, which is quite rare for me because it's not an animal I particularly connect with. So I thought, okay, well, that could be something. And then I turned the TV on, and there was an advert. Or was it an old watching a YouTube video? It was an old YouTube video, and it was a lion bar was on there. And then I was listening to the radio going to work the next morning, and the song "The Lion Sleeps Tonight" was playing. So for me, that was three lions. Okay, so I'll look up in my little book of what things mean about a lion, and then go from there. So that's pretty much what my chapter is all about, and the practice of how to try and find some clarity, and to make sure that the answer that you think the universe is giving is the answer that the universe is actually sending at you.
It's absolutely brilliant, and it when you were talking just now, it reminded me of something that happened to me recently as well, where I have a statue. Well, I have several statues on my altar, and I noticed one of them had moved, And I ignored it, put it back in its right place. And then a couple of days later, it had moved again. And I thought, well, I must be keeping knocking this. And then the third time, the statue had completely moved. And it was right, okay, let's sit down with the statue and do some work, because clearly this being has a message for me, because you keep moving. But they're both incredibly valuable lessons that you're talking about, and practices that you're talking about, because different people will need different things, so that's the beauty of our book, is that we've got such a rich and diverse collection of stories and collection of practices for people to use to help them with their development, and to help them actually understand that what they're going through is quite normal. Because again, when we are on this path of spiritual awakening, whether or not it's a slow and gentle path, or whether it's a fast and drastic and huge things happening at one's path, all of these things are normal. Whereas our brains, our computer brains, aren't really programmed for, and not that alternate reality that we as spiritual teachers have experienced and teach people how to understand. So I'm going to circle back to Janne now and ask you, Janne, what's the key takeaway you'd like people to have from your story and your practice, Cariad?
Well, I think first of all, hope, because I think my story shows. I mean, I've been writing actually on a book since 2018. In 2020, it really started going, because there I had to. I had to check out. I had to check out. My nervous system said, "No way, I'm not going any further." So I had to check out, and there my writing really started day and night, and my memory started opening up, and I wrote and I wrote, and I thought, it's amazing what I suddenly remembered. And it was really hard for my body, but it was good for my mind to realize how much it actually had been suppressing, because I didn't want to remember. So in that way, I started realizing that everything that's happening in the world now, I was told 28 years ago, I was told it all, including world community closed down, whatever. I mean, there was a lot of, there was a big intelligence that was feeding me with information, and I moved into it all then, but I moved into it with fear. I moved into it not being connected with myself. So the fact is, I almost, I mean, I almost died psychologically. I died many times, but so my story today, I want to bring hope out, and I want to say, when we open into, I've heard many people talking about people have to awaken, and I'm like, into what? What do we need to awaken to? Because I've tried to awaken into lots of intelligence and lots of fear at the same time. So let us awaken into love. So in that way, I want to bring out hope and say, no matter what, and no matter what you see, believe in it, believe in the good. And I was just writing something down here. The only way out is to go in. Let us go in, and let us get the divine feminine with us out into the world.
Yeah. Bless you, Janne. Thank you so much. Thank you. And Kieron, what's the takeaway that you'd like for our readers and listeners?
I think it's really interesting because the takeaway is kind of the same. And it probably will be for many of us, that these challenges that we go through are opportunities. I've had two, I used to say I've had two breakdowns, nervous breakdowns in my life. And now I say that they're breakthroughs, because they were shifts, monumental shifts of consciousness. And in that, as I said, going to that place, looking out to the world, asking for answers. And I do that all the time. I still do it this evening. This evening I'll take the dog for a walk, and I'll look up the stars, and I'll ask for help and guidance. And we can look out to the universe, yes, and the universe can show us the way. But we also, as Jana said, we have to look inside ourselves for those answers, to be able to trust our intuition, to be able to, yes, the signs and symbols will be there, the pictures in the clouds, and but ultimately the answers are inside us, so we can fold these things. People say that our world around us is just a projection of our consciousness out into the world, which is why we can see those signs and believe that the universe is sending those symbols to us. But actually, it is inside ourselves. And to trust yourself, to allow these things. People regularly say to me, when we're talking about spirituality and things, they'll say, "Oh, this is going to sound a bit mad, but this happened to me," or "This is going to sound crazy, but this happened to me. This is going to sound bonkers. Oh, this is a bit weird." And my response is pretty much always the same. I work with dragon energies. I tune in to the Master Merlin who guides me, and I said, "You're only as mad as I am." And us in the community have all kinds of gifts and opportunities and memories, and we have these theories about the world and how everything works in the universe and the dimensions and past lives. And they're theories because none of us really know the definitive answer. But that's in the same way as scientists have lots of theories and they don't have all the answers. They think that scientists will believe that spirituality is, or regularly will believe that it's a bit of nonsense and a bit strange because it doesn't definitively answer the questions of the universe, but they don't have the answers either. They have theories and we have theories, and I think we should be allowed to have equal standing with the scientific community. We've said recently that a lot of the science that's coming out at the moment about healing using sound frequencies and other things, you posted something the other day, and science is catching up with spirituality because we've been doing that kind of thing for 5,000 years, 10,000 years. So it's nice that the science is catching up with the spirituality. And so hopefully that'll bring things back together because, we used to work together holistically. Alchemists were talking about the building blocks of the universe on one hand, but also the spirituality of things and the symbolism and signs. And that was all together. And it's become disparate, it's become separated. So hopefully they'll come back in together. And as Jana said, I know you'll agree, the balance of masculine and feminine energy, the balance of ideas and understandings and way moving forwards, if we can come back to that, then humanity will really move forwards positively and solve a lot of the issues and problems which we have at the moment.
Thank you, Kieran. Thank you so much. So, on that note, let me tell you where you can get a copy of our beautiful book. So, we're due to launch on the 11th of November, and you'll find our book on Amazon and all of the different digital platforms. You can also find it you can buy it through Waterstones and lots of online booksellers as well. And perhaps even your local bookseller will have a copy if we've got an author nearby. So please reach out to Janne and to Kieran. Their details will be in the footnotes of the show. If you have any questions or you'd like to connect with them, they'd be delighted to connect with you. So again, thank you so much for listening. Bless you all. Thank you, Janne, all the way from Denmark, and Kieran, who's down near Glastonbury in England, and me from Greenwich, the place where time begins. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bless you.